Shalom. Kol halayim la Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, to the Akim doing the work in truth and sincerity, as well as the few Akwat that listen and learn. This is Brother Shawar with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And I was meditating on this in the spirit, and I want to get into why the Lord gave the dominion of the earth to the wicked. Because, people of the world, or people, Israelites that are coming into the truth, may have this question, because I know I did, early on, when the Lord first wakes you up, the question arises that, why would the Lord, why would he do this? Why would he give the dominion over the earth to the wicked? Because look at the state of the earth, But you have to ask yourself, we know the Most High isn't, he's not crazy. His ways are higher than our ways. Isaiah 55, his thoughts, higher than our thoughts. The Lord's mind is far beyond what we can comprehend. So the Lord isn't, he has a plan behind this, man. He's not doing this just to do it. He's not crazy. So you have to ask yourself, why is the Lord doing this? And the short answer is because he's trying to teach his people a lesson. He's trying to teach his sons, his daughters a lesson. The children of Israel, the so-called Negros, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the Israelite foreigners today, those that look like the other nations, but their lineage goes back to that of an Israelite, because Israel, the seed of Israel was spread through all the nations of the earth. Those are his children, according to prophecy, secular history, relics, so on and so forth. We are the children of Israel. And in this time, he's dealing with the elect, the remnant of the nation of Israel. But this is all to teach us a lesson. We're going through this, this process of seeing complete wickedness, seeing everything, seeing how everything is not supposed to go, in order to appreciate righteousness, and how everything is supposed to go. So, to put it in a statement, in order to appreciate righteousness, we must first understand wickedness and experience wickedness. And that's what this is all about, man. Ultimately, the Lord is in control of everything. He, we went off and disobeyed him, and he told us what would happen if we did. And we're living it, through generation after generation after generation. We've been going through this punishment, but we're at the time where this punishment is about to, it's about to be over with. And the Lord is about to put us above our enemies who we've been under for so long. So let's get into some scriptures and break it down. So this is Job 9:24. It reads, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" So who's the wicked? The wicked is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. That is the wicked of the Bible. Tells you that, or the wicked of the world. It tells you that in the scriptures, in Malachi, the 1st chapter and the 4th verse, that they are the border of wickedness. And they cover the faces of the judges thereof. Who are the judges? The judges are the Israelites, the prophets that the Lord set up. All the prophets were men of color, because we are a people of color. And they covered the faces of the judges thereof. They made them, they painted all the images, they whitewashed all the history. When they took over Rome, during the Renaissance, the rebirth, of the Edomites, they did iconoclasm, knocking off and defacing the icons and the statues of the Israelites that were ruling before. So this is what they've done. They've whitewashed history, man, and made themselves to look like they've always been there and they've always been these high and mighty people, when really, no, they're the base men, they're the wicked of the earth. And they've been running and hiding from that identity up until this day. But it's being revealed who they are. But this is who the earth is giving them to, man. You know? And it's evident to see. But it tells us in the book of Genesis, when Esau and Jacob were born, the prophecy was that the elder shall serve the younger. Because that blessing, you know, the promise to basically have dominion over the earth, you know, and to rule the nations, was given unto the seed line of Jacob. So it was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it was supposed to be, it's normally the firstborn, but it was predestinated through the Spirit that Jacob was going to get it, because that's how the Lord operates. This is the Lord's movie. So we got that blessing, and Esau, he didn't, man. Esau sold his birthright, you know, and he's pretty much, you know, he's jealous. He's been jealous of Jacob ever since. And that's why that hatred is a spiritual hatred they have for our people. That's why it will never end until the Lord comes and puts an end to it. But nonetheless, this is who's ruling the earth. And you got to ask yourself, okay, well, why did the Lord do this? Again, we have to go through the wickedness to appreciate the righteousness, man. So this is Deuteronomy 28:15. It reads, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." So in the time of Moses, when we were, you know, when he was given the law, statutes, and commandments, and we put it on stone through Moses and Aaron, really through Moses, you know, and that was the first time we, you know, in Mount Sinai, where the law, statutes, and commandments was put on stone, and it was, you know, it was given to our people in that manner, you know. But the Lord said if we didn't hearken unto those law, statutes, and commandments, you know, that we would be cursed, that the Lord would jack us up. And that's exactly what happened. You know, the Israelites didn't take heed. We didn't take heed as a nation, you know. We were, you know, going off, you know, idol worshiping, you know, just breaking the law left and right. And the Lord jacked us up, and he put us through slavery. He put curses on us. If you read Deuteronomy 28:15 on down, it goes through the curses. You know, we will be sold for bondmen, bondwomen, subject to payments. You know, no man shall buy us, meaning, you know, redeem us, save us from this captivity. And we've been going through it. We're living it right now. But like I said, we're at the end of this thing. But this is why, a part of the reason why the Lord set up the wicked to rule the earth, because he's trying to teach ultimately his sons a lesson. Because the Lord is dealing with us as a nation much differently than he deals with these heathen nations, because these heathen nations, they don't matter. And more so in this time, dealing with the elect, he's dealing with us on a more even, you know, on a closer level, more than the rest of the nation of Israel. Although Israel is still being, you know, we're all catching hell as a whole, but the elect in this time more is that the Lord is dealing with us even, you know, he's dealing with us a little bit more, because he, you know, we're, Lord's will be a part of that number. You know, we're the ones who, you know, are hopefully the ones who make it through the fire and are saved in these times and receive salvation and start up the righteous government in the kingdom of heaven. Because we know 2/3 of Israel is marked for judgment. Right? So these other nations don't matter. As a matter of fact, let's get a precept on that in Psalms 147 chapter and 19th verse. It reads, "He sheweth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation." And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So these other nations were never given the laws, statutes, the commandments, and the promises, from the Lord. There was only the nation of Israel, man, the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel, man. So the Lord isn't dealing with everyone else like he's dealing with the nation of Israel. So this is all to teach us a lesson ultimately. All right, so let's get this in Daniel 4:17. It reads, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones." So the watchers are the prophets, right? And the holy ones are the angels. So this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basest of men. So the Lord is the one who sets up kingdoms, who brings down kingdoms. The Lord ruleth in the kingdom of men. He is the one who sets up people to rule, man. And in this time, he set up the basis of men to rule over his sons. And the basis of men are who? Those that dwell in the clefts and the rocks. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Job 9:30 lets us know that. Not Job 9:30, Job 30th chapter. I think around the 7th, 8th, 9th verse. But that's what the Lord is doing in this time. He's risen up the basis of men to rule over, all the people of the earth, especially the Israelites. Because really, and all these nations have had their rule, over the Israelites. And that was part of our punishment as well. But the earth was made for the Israelites' sakes. It tells us that in 2nd Esdras, that the world was made for the Israelites' sakes, man. These other nations weren't meant to rule the world. That's why these kingdoms, have always risen up and have always fell, because they never followed the blueprint of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Because if you don't, the wages of sin is death, man. Even though these other nations, they're not under the covenant like the nation of Israel, that there's still the reason we have these laws, statutes, and commandments is because it is the perfect blueprint coming from the Most High. So if you don't follow it, man, it's not going to go well. And that's pretty much what we're learning going through this captivity, captivity after captivity, all these things that we go through on a daily basis, whether it be, just trouble in the flesh, dealing with women, your job, whatever, all these trials and tribulations that the Lord is trying us with. This is all a result of who's in power and why, it shows you, it shows you every single day. You see it, why a wicked rulership will never work, why steering away from the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, our power, our laws, statutes, and commandments, will always lead to destruction. And that's why the Lord he's rising up that remnant, Lord's will we be a part of that number, the elect, to come back and turn back to the ways of our Father, to the ways of our forefathers, and to start that new righteous government under Yahweh Shai and King David in the kingdom of heaven, which will be on earth. So we're seeing it now. We're seeing the power shift, but we understand, those of us in the know, in the circumcision, we understand, why wickedness will never prevail. And the Lord has shown us before, man. He flooded the whole earth, man. He flooded the whole earth in the time of Noah because of wickedness. Sodom and Gomorrah. He's risen up kingdoms and brought them down to show his power. Egypt. Ancient Egypt. So, and he's going to do it on the highest level with Babylon the Great, with America. Right? So this is why, man. This is why we're going through what we're going through. The Lord is not crazy, man. There's a method behind the madness. So next precept is on 1 Samuel 2:6. It read, "The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set them, and he has set the world upon them. So the pillars of the earth, meaning the supports of the earth, those that rule it. Those that are on top of the earth, man, that keep the earth, that are ruling the people. It's the Lord who sets them in place. He brings you low and he brings you high. He controls it all. He kills, he makes alive. Judgment, we know vengeance is the Lord's. We know the Lord is the one who's in control of judgment. He creates light and darkness. Isaiah 45:7. The Lord is in control of everything. It's the Heavenly Father who's behind everything you see in your day-to-day, even the littlest things. So this is all of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. But like I said, there's a method to the madness. Verse 9, he will keep the feet of his saints who are the Israelites, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. The adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces. Out of heaven shall he thunder up upon them. The Lord shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his kings, and exalt the horn of his anointed. So at the end of the day, this is the Lord's movie. So the adversaries of the Lord, Esau, Edom, and these other nations, but particularly Esau, Edom, they're going to be broken to pieces, man. They're going to go into captivity for what they've done to the apple of the Lord's eye, which are the Israelites. The Lord has not forgotten all these things, that they've done to his people, especially these Edomites. Judgment is coming, man. Judgment is coming. And justice is coming for the nation of Israel, starting with the elect in this time. Right? But this is about the Lord's name being exalted in the earth and him showing his power through prophecy, through his men, through his son. And that's exactly what's going to happen, because when he brought Esau up to such a high level, and he's bringing him down now, but Esau he's gone to such a high level, for the most part, these other nations were fearing him, and he was the big bully on the block. He seemed untouchable. The American dream was the highest standard of life. Even now, most people still, they still have that fear for Esau, and there's still that, it's still in the air, because this is still his rulership, but it's coming down. You see it crumbling. You see it circling the drain, because now it's the time of the end of his rulership. But nonetheless, the Lord has brought him up so high just to bring him all the way down in the blink of an eye, man. He's going to destroy this place in 1 hour. Tells us that in Revelation. This place is going to be destroyed in 1 hour, man, by way of thermonuclear missiles, those ICBMs, via World War III, Yahweh Shah himself, and those chariots that he comes with, man, and the angels. And then his elect that he's going to rise up and give new bodies and make immortal. After the Lord's will, we get beamed up into the chariots. So the Lord is going to do this thing in a huge way, man, a way like never before. But he's brought them so high just to bring them low. And everybody is going to know that this is a higher power doing, what's happening in the earth, man, because it's going to get crazy out here. But this is a lesson, man. This is a whole lesson. That's all it is, man. The Lord is teaching us something. He's showing us, look, when you steer off from what I tell you to do, this is what happens. Bad things happen. Our people are completely out of order. We're destroyed. We're sick, mentally, physically, spiritually. Our women are out of order. Adulterous men and women. We don't own nothing. We're So, and all that being said, considering we are the ones who the earth was made for. The Lord made the earth for the Israelites' sake. So the Lord is showing us something, man. He's trying to teach us a lesson. And the remnant in this time, we understand the lesson. We get it. That's why, the Lord, he gave us a spirit to understand. So we get it. But the 2/3 of our people, pursuant to Zechariah 13:8, they don't understand it. Therefore, they will be destroyed along with this place, man, because they're still attached to this place and they don't want to take heed. Right? So let's get a couple more precepts and then I'll close it out. So this is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 10:3. It reads, "An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited." So an unwise king destroyeth his people. That's Esau, Edom, man. And he is the wicked. He's programmed to be wicked. So he's not going to be righteous by any means. He'll even destroy his own to fulfill his wicked agendas, man, for greed. Nothing is ever enough for them, man. They'll just keep going and going and going until, really they won't stop, because they have the elites of the earth. The elite banking families, the ones who really rule everything and control everything behind the scenes. They have everything. They have all the money, they have, they're trillionaires, man. Beyond that, they own everything. They're truly living, like they're actually in their heaven. But here it is, they're still trying to fulfill the NWO and cut the population down, have everybody chipped with the charagma, because they want total control. They want to cut out the Most High and his people, and they're basically trying to replace the Most High. But that, that's just their moral compass. It's just wicked, and they're destroying their people, and everyone else, just to fulfill these wicked deeds. So this is an unwise king, and these other nations aren't fit to rule, man. That's why all these kingdoms fall. The rulership of the Israelites, the few rulerships that we've had have also fell because, we did the same thing. We ended up going off, even in the time of King Solomon, which is the closest thing we had to the kingdom, and it really started to fall because of Solomon's wickedness, King Solomon's wickedness. He started to go off. Then it trickled down to the kingdom, and boom, there you have it, man. And it's the same thing every time. But to see, in the time of, the kingdom of heaven that we're about to step into, the Lord is going to put the law, statutes, and commandments in our inward parts, in our minds, so we won't be able to go off, man. So you see, again, it's showing you the Lord is just teaching us this lesson, because at the end of the day, it's his good pleasure to give us the kingdom, and he's gonna make it easy for us, because we're gonna be completely programmed naturally to just be 100% righteous as a people. So this is just a lesson that we have to go through, and it's tough sometimes. But look what we have at the end of the tunnel, man, and we can see the end of the tunnel. We're in the last days, right? But let's get back to this precept. So an unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. So Sirach 10:4, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. So he's going to eventually fix this. This is not going to last, man. This kingdom is on its way out, and we're very close to the end of this kingdom. The water Yahweh Shem, because we're tired of this place, man, and that's the spirit you should be in, because it's just wicked. But peace and righteousness is coming to the earth, man, but it has to go through war and destruction first. And the Lord is going to make sure, his elect gets through it, man. Lord's will be a part of that number. But he will set up a righteous rulership, and he's not going to allow this devil to continue to destroy the earth, to destroy his people, and to just get away with all this wickedness, man. He is coming back to set things right with vengeance, man. He's coming back to shed a lot of blood. Billions of people are about to die by the hand of the judgment of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And the Lord is going to basically have a righteous reset and start over in the kingdom, man. And it's going to be far greater than this wicked kingdom, man. Because the other nations, even though they have a punishment to play out, 1,000 years of slavery to build up the kingdom, even after that, the whole world will be governed by Yahweh Shai, the 144,000 in righteousness, but they're going to rejoice at the rulership of the Israelites because it's going to be a righteous rulership. Proverbs 29:2. When the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. When the righteous are in rulership, the people rejoice. Roughly paraphrasing. So that these other nations, whether people can see it or understand it or not, that is how it's going to be. They're going to rejoice off of the righteous rulership, man, because the ways of the Heavenly Father are the ways of life. The ways of these heathen, and especially these Edomites, is just death. That's what it always leads to, in some way, shape, or form, right? But the Lord is coming to set it right, and he's coming to set us up as the nation of Israel, as the top nation on the planet Earth forever. Because our kingdom is going to be everlasting. We're going to be immortals and a righteous people that just won't, we're not going to kill each other anymore. We're not going to commit adultery with each other anymore, or to each other anymore. We're not going to be sick. We're not going to die from sickness. We're not going to, have these infirmities and these body pains. None of that, man. We're going to have dominion over the earth. We're going to be able to do what we want, when we want, how we want it. We're going to have servants. Our women are going to have servants. Our children are going to have servants. We're going to rise up a nation of just more kings and princesses to marry those kings, to just continue to rule the earth, and then expand to other galaxies, other planets. See, which is far out. Scriptures say, in my Father's house there are many mansions, meaning planets, galaxies. So what we have coming is amazing, man. But we have to learn this lesson. This is why the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. It's a big lesson that we're learning. But we have to endure it because, we pretty much brought this on ourselves. But we're at the end, man. We're almost there. So we got to keep fighting. But let's get this last precept in Isaiah, and then we'll close it out. So this is Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. So the Lord is going to set us up above all these nations, man. Put us in rulership. Give us the fatness of the earth. We're going to have servants and handmaids, but it's going to be done in righteousness. There's a way to have servants and handmaids, not the way Esau did it. And everybody's going to benefit ultimately from the rulership of the Israelites. But we first have to go through this wickedness to understand this is what happens when you don't live, righteously. So this is the lesson, man. So Lord's word is edifying, to whoever, needed to hear it. And, I know the Lord does, the Spirit does what it does. The words of the Lord doesn't go out void. So, Lord's word is edifying. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakodash, Shalom, Kwam Yasharala, and Abababal.
Because the Lord is going to restore everything. You're going to have a total different vibration on the earth, a total different smell. You're not going to be walking down the street and smell shit and piss, and no foul odors or nothing like that, because the lungs of the earth are going to be given back to it, which is all these trees and all of these flowers, and it's going to be a whole total different vibration. You know, you're going to see the aura and how things are going to change and how elevated things are going to be. Our senses are going to be heightened, you know? Everything about us is going to be glorified.
The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious.
We can look at the earth today, and there are still, even though this devil has destroyed and ruined the earth and polluted the world, polluted the air, polluted the waters, polluted the food and the people and everything, and the earth itself, there are still places on earth that are so breathtaking and so beautiful, even though it's still tainted, but it's just so beautiful to look at. You know, being there can probably take off, you know, or bring you back 5-10 years, make you 5 or 10 years younger, 15-20 years younger, just by the presence, the aura of that place. So just imagine how much greater the kingdom is going to be when the Most High has on his right hand there are pleasures forevermore. You know, imagine how much greater, how much more beautiful the kingdom of heaven is going to be once it's established. You know, and these are things that we have to keep in mind, because this is what we're fighting for.
The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious.